So I made a post earlier today on Instagram, and normally I don't really talk too much about my personal life or my beliefs or anything like that, simply because I use social media as a platform for my business and for my lifting, and I just kind of keep it at that. I just don't really get into the whole sharing and expression of personal life, personal drama, personal things. But for some reason today I felt pretty compelled to write something. As I write pretty much every day, I do some type of journaling, and just kind of what I believe it helps create a lot of mindfulness within the body, a lot of inner peace type of deal. And I don't really like to do too much spirituality stuff or religious stuff, because it's just not really something I ever want to get into or debate about. But for me, about 5 years ago, which put me at 25, I decided to kind of put the last 25 years behind me and, you know, kind of find myself and go on this path, this journey to somewhat of enlightenment is what I would call it. And it's brought me to a lot of places. It's allowed me to meet a lot of people. It's allowed me to open my eyes to a lot of things and experience new things and new cultures. And you know, over the last 5 years, I've come to find myself more and come to really appreciate who I am and what I do, and just kind of everything about me as a person. You know, I've always had a lot of self-doubt, and I've always had a lot of issues with that. And this 5-year journey was to kind of find myself and find what I feel like is my somewhat of a self-actualization, to be able to be very comfortable with who I am and what I do, and not really worry too much. And I feel like there's a lot of loneliness to that, in the fact that you're by yourself a lot. But, you know, if you're not by yourself, then how do you really take the time to get to know who you are and to learn to appreciate those things? And I've been in a handful of relationships and friendships and stuff where there's a lot of people that were afraid to be by themselves, and that they relied a lot on satisfaction of others, whether it be from social media, which is a big one nowadays. Is, you know, people do stuff for social media instead of doing stuff and then posting it on social media, because they want that instant gratification of someone or a bunch of people telling them that they look good, or that they, you know, that they're doing stuff. And for me, it's just a matter of being thoroughly like happy with yourself and with your purpose on this planet, and choosing the path that fits those goals for you. You know, everyone has the ability to choose their own path. And within these relationships and these friendships and stuff, there's always a lot of complaining about their life and their choices, and, you know, all these things that they created more suffering in their life and more pain because they were too scared or too lazy to change it. You know, they wanted someone else to do it for them. They wanted someone else to pat them on the back and tell them it's going to be okay. And it's really not. It's one of those things where you got to step outside your comfort zone. You got to focus on, you know, your purpose, right? I feel like everyone on this planet has a purpose, and whether or not they fulfill it is truly up to them and the amount of effort they put into things. And, you know, if you're more consumed and more worried about what other people think of you, then the likelihood of you actually getting to that point where you're reaching your purpose in life and following the path that you chose and not the path that other people chose for you, you know, it's going to create a lot of issues. And I think it just comes down to fear of being by themselves because they're not happy with themselves, fear of learning who they are because they've never had to take the time to do that. You know, they just rely on other people to tell them who they are. And you got to be able to fulfill that potential and grow as a human being, and that means you got to put in effort, you got to be open-minded, and you got to learn to love who you are. And you can really see that in some people, and you can really see the opposite in others. And you know, for me, getting to meet a few people have really opened my eyes and really set me on this path, and I couldn't really be happier with where I'm at right now, you know, personally, with who I am and what I have going on. And you know, it's definitely a good sense of relief to get to that point, and I know I have a lot more steps to go and a lot more work to do, but you know, it was more or less posting something about my journey and where I've come from and where I've gone and where I'm taking it, to maybe hopefully get other people to quit being lazy and fulfill their potential and choose their own path and not the life that others have chosen for them. You know, so if you're sitting there and you're thinking to yourself like you're not very happy with what you have going on, you know, you're scared to be by yourself because you're not happy with yourself, or you're just scared to put forth the effort and make change, you know, try to go do something about that. Try to, you know, expand your knowledge, expand your horizon. Don't fall victim. Don't play the victim card. And keep pushing forward. You'll realize that you're capable of a lot more, and you know that fear is always going to be there, but the more and more you push away from it, and the more and more you just face it, the stronger the person you're going to become, and the more successful you'll become, and the happier you'll become. And I mean, that's pretty much the whole point of the post. You guys can go check it out. And you know, here's this week's training. Everything's going really well. Excited to keep pushing. Excited to keep growing. Enough rambling for one day. Just taking you guys through the leg workout I did. Started incorporating the barbells back into the movements. Did safety squat bar for 4 sets of 8 with 400 pounds, and then moved into 4 sets of 6 sumo pulls with 450 pounds, and finished up with 5 sets of 12 belt squats and some other unilateral work. So far this off-season, week 2, everything's going really well. Feeling fully recovered when it's time to train legs again, but the volume and using the velocity device has really taught me, or shown me, like the level of fatigue that I'm acquiring and how the speed drops with the fatigue and the form drops. So obviously getting in better shape, adding in the cardio, the conditioning and stuff like that are going to help improve not only the quality of the lifts, but the quality of the sets as well, meaning that the form's not going to break down, the speed's going to be there for every rep, because I'm able to fully recover rep to rep, set to set, workout to workout. So a lot to build on from that, just by increasing my work capacity. The next day, decided to do some close grip benching. Hit up 315 to 345 for 5 sets of 8, varying depending on how hard it got, I guess you can say. Once it got to a point where it was kind of sticky, I decided to back down the weight. That way there's no grinders, just all good solid reps. And then after those felt really good, used a pretty closer grip than I'm normally doing, which really emphasizes more triceps, and everything feels really healthy, so I'm able to go full range of motion. I'm not too much of a fan of partial range of motion movements unless it starts to bother my wrist or shoulders. Then I'll throw those in there to save the joints. After that, 5 sets of 12 with some JM presses. A lot of the accessories and stuff are triceps heavy this day, just to keep building. So after the main close grip movement, I did some JM presses, and then I just started doing some bodybuilding type supersets with arms and a little bit of rear delts and abs to end it. But everything was tricep, biceps, just trying to get bigger arms. Obviously, the bigger the arms, typically the bigger the bench press, and I've always had a goal of having 20-inch arms. So, you know,
Hopefully it'll manifest itself by adding in these days and really hammering down on the volume. Did some dips afterwards, and like I said, after that, just a bunch of back and forth biceps and triceps. I'll have it all on my training log at kabukistrength.com. Make sure you guys check it out. Check out teamnutrition.net and donuts and deadlifts. Until next time, guys, take care.